Okay, couple of things with this. First off, it doesn't have gravity and it doesn't have levels. Although I have given you some of the code for levels. I've got a set level. I just want to show you how to get to level 2 so that you can do it yourself. So let's say level 2. Let's say level 2 has 3 bubbles and they're bigger, right? So let's make them all bigger. So we'll do 500, 500, 500, 500, 500. So we're gonna get some big bubbles. Now we can't get to it because I haven't done the code. The bubbles pop in laser.move, right? My last video didn't record, so I'm gonna go through this a little slower, okay? Laser.move makes the laser move, and it uses a for loop to check for every bubble, okay? How this for loop works is it says start at 0 and go for however many bubbles there are, list.size. And it increments 1 by 1. So what happens is it checks the first bubble, it gets the first bubble out of the list, then it gets the second bubble out of the list, then it gets the third bubble out of the list. If there's no bubbles, it doesn't do anything. If there's 10 bubbles, it does this 10 times, okay? And what does it do for each bubble? Well, that's our standard collision code. Check bubble 1, have you hit it? Check bubble 2, have you hit it? And what it does is it says, well, if you have hit it, split the bubble, make 2 bubbles. The bubbles are half the width of the bubble that I hit. And it adds those bubbles that I hit to the list, okay? Now, after we've done that, we have to ask, are there no bubbles on the screen? What do we do when there's no bubbles on the screen? New level, right? There's a million places you could put the check for no bubbles on the screen. Now here's how we check for no bubbles on the screen. We go list.size equals 0. Now the reason why I'm making a video out of this is because sometimes you don't know where to put the code. Anyone can do this if list.size equals 0. That's easy, okay? But sometimes it's hard to know where. Let's imagine I put it in the constructor. So the constructor is the startup. If I check to see if there's no bubbles, is this going to work? Why is it not going to work in the constructor?
Because none of them exist yet, so it's just going to fire up.
Yeah, but we just added things to the list. It's never going to do it, right? Bad place to put it. But most people wouldn't put it there. I was just doing it as an example. What if I put it in Paint? Will it detect that that there's no bubbles in Paint? Actually does detect because it ticks every second, right? It might tick too many times. Sometimes doing things in Paint is tricky because it click, 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 click. It happens every millisecond. So before you add some code, you really need to think about where you're putting. You could make it work in Paint. The only reason I'm putting it at the end of laser.move is because we just popped a bubble. So after we pop the bubble, let's see if it was that the last bubble, right? So I'm going to here, and I'm going to put down check to see if there are no bubbles, okay? If there are no bubbles, if list.size is equal to 0, level equals level plus 1, set level. Okay, and what that'll do is it'll go to this set level code, which is right here, and it's not level 1 because I just added 1, it's level 2, okay? And it is doing it. Let's actually see if it works. Maybe I have to make the thing a little bit, I should probably start with less bubbles, because I'm going to test this. Okay, let's get the last one. Okay, obviously 500 is too big, okay? But you get the idea, right? That's probably a little bit too big. I also have a mouse clicked which adds bubbles. Let's get rid of that. That's not needed for this game. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to do gravity too. Okay, so it's a bonus. I'm actually going to show you how to do gravity, and I'm going to post this code. So this is bubble.move. Currently it moves like a pong ball. It shouldn't move like a pong ball. So let's add some gravity. Int gravity equals 1. This is cheap gravity. If you're in a physics class, you could do better gravity. Or maybe you can get Mr. Bentz to show you how to do it, but I'm just going to have a gravity of 1. And now, what is my gravity applied to? The what? The balls, but what component of the ball? The y speed. Notice the y speed is constant, right? So if my y speed is 5, it's moving at 5. But my y speed actually needs to reduce. Y speed gets y speed minus gravity. And if you take physics, you know you don't actually subtract gravity. You multiply it by, what is it, 5.8 or I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, like I haven't thought about it too much, how to apply it in code. But you can do it, right? This is going to be good enough, though, for most people. So it's going to reduce the y speed by whatever our gravity value is. We don't need to protect the top anymore. That's the top of the screen. Balls can go over the top and come back down. So if it ever hits the top, it'll just keep coming back down. So we're going to delete the top. Okay? And lastly, when I hit the bottom, I no longer want to invert. Okay? Because I just kind of want to give it a recharge, like bounce back up. And there's some number that works here. I think it might be 40. What happened? Y speed equals -40. Should work. We just did it. Why didn't it work? Y speed gets y speed minus gravity. Well, that's weird. If y plus height is greater, let's try 60. Okay, yeah. So it was positive. Let's try 40 again. So you might have to massage these numbers a little bit to get it working with your code. That's some gravity. Now you can see the difference between real gravity and this in the game, because real gravity will slow down at the top and increase, whereas my gravity is a constant, it's 1. Right? And that's why it should be a multiple. But this isn't a physics class, so I'm not going to harp too much about it. This actually looks pretty good. Okay? And what I might actually do is I'll give you some code later on that where the gravity is depending on the size, because in the game, bigger balls bounce differently than smaller balls. Whereas in this one, all the stuff will be the same. Anyways, this code adds levels and it adds gravity. I'm going to post the video and I'm going to post the code because I'm a nice guy.